All right, Joe. The NFL and handling COVID-19 between the Broncos and the Ravens, right? Do you think the sole reason the NFL extended the Ravens and not the Broncos does it have to do with the market size of the teams?
No, I think the market size I'm sure played
Yeah.
into it, but I think there's
Okay.
two other factors. The smaller one being that the Broncos Saints game had essentially nothing to do with the playoffs, no effect on it. The Saints were going to beat the Broncos whether or not they had their quarterbacks. But I
Okay.
think the biggest issue is that the Broncos don't have an owner right now.
Ooh.
Roger Goodell works for the owners. The Broncos had no one to advocate for them. I mean, John Elway complained to Goodell, but
He's not
Goodell
on.
doesn't work for Elway.
Yeah.
You know, Bob Kraft or any of these other owners come and complaining, and I bet you it gets moved. I mean, look at the Ravens game; it got moved what, 2 times, 3 times,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I think not having an owner was the biggest issue.
All right. What about? Let's go to Craig. What about you, Craig?
I think there's something in play. I do think the playoff part was solely to was a big factor. I guess you got two teams who are rivals, trying to make a playoff push, and the more you extend it, the more time you give people to recover from COVID or whatever the case may be. So, and obviously, I mean, they were still getting positive tests and things like that. So, I think that has something to do with it. I feel bad for the Broncos to have to put out Kendall out there like that and have him
crazy.
go 1 for 9. Like it was tough to watch.
That was crazy.
I think they could have postponed that game just to give them a better option at quarterback. But like Joe said, they probably most likely weren't not going to win that game anyway. So
literally moving the game one day would have given them enough time to have all of their quarterbacks back.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they just could not have appeased them one more day to just give them an opportunity to at least put up a better showing than 1 for 9 from the quarterback position. So I felt really bad for the Broncos, honestly, and it was just a tough watch. So I think, oh my god, I think it was just a bad situation all the way around. It wasn't a good look for the NFL to me at all. It was just a stupid decision that they could have had done, but they could have done it. They could have done better as far as helping out a smaller market, even though they had no chance of going to the playoffs. The other team was probably going to win anyway. But it's just a bad look. Like you could have easily helped that team out or helped them out in general, like and made it a better atmosphere, a better game. Like it just wasn't a good look.
Okay, Mo, what do you think? Do you think the NFL handling the COVID with the Broncos and Ravens? Do you think it had something to do with the market size of the teams?
I think it did, but in retrospect, if we talk about safety and listening to y'all, it helped me bring it to retrospect. If we're talking about safety, you sit here and you put a quarterback in place who never started a game in the NFL and hasn't started a game since his sophomore year in college. But we're talking about safety of players. How can you say that? How can you say we're about the safety of players? Because think about this for a second. If you put a sophomore, a kid out there who never thrown a pass since sophomore year of high school, I know you're going to run the ball. And I know this dude is not used to the speed of the NFL, especially amongst these times. So now think about this. What happens now? How can the NFL explain it if he throws a bad pass or he throws a pass out there crazy and a wide receiver gets hit? And the wide receiver gets hit real bad and gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that can't happen in any NFL game, but now you amplify it because they're like, yo, you're putting a kid out here who's never started an NFL game, who hasn't started an NFL game since sophomore year of college, and you're throwing them out here to start against grown-ass men, but we're talking about safety in the NFL. And we're talking about safety of players. So I think it wasn't a good look, especially when you sit there and you postpone the Ravens game 3 separate times, but you're going to throw these Denver players out here with a quarterback who's never played an NFL game and say, oh, go play. I think it was contradiction. I truly think it was a contradiction of safety. That's just me.
Yeah, to piggyback on what you said, it looked horrible. I'm not gonna lie. I think they should have postponed it. I think the NFL. I understand, Joe. Like, it doesn't matter if they had Drew Lock or whatever, but like, come on, man. They got this kid off the practice squad. They tried to get their all. Hold on. What was it? Their quarterbacks coach that they tried?
Yeah, so
This is ridiculous, man.
he was like an offensive assistant. He played quarterback for Central Florida when he was in college, and they asked if he'd be eligible because at least he knows the playbook.
Yeah, and you're gonna throw him out there in the NFL. The hardest. Listen, the quarterback might be one of the hardest positions in professional sports. That's crazy. They could have postponed it, maybe Tuesday, because I think no other games played that week. They gotta chalk it up, man. Did Drew Lock come back like the next? It was Sunday. Didn't they come back like Tuesday or Monday?
Yeah, it was. They were activated Monday or Tuesday, but the minimum required was literally the next day.
They should have postponed it, man. They can listen. Y'all gonna have a 5 o'clock Monday night game, man. 3 o'clock game. Come on, man. They've been doing it all year. They have. They've been doing it all year. Oh, guess what? The Saints and Broncos, 3 p.m. Monday. What's the? I don't understand the problem with that. I don't understand. Like, that's ridiculous. They put a receiver out there. They didn't play quarterback. Like, they gotta be. Words of Shannon Sharp. They ought to be ashamed of themselves, man. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man.
I thought it was a really interesting thing to see. So Kendall Hinton played some college quarterback. So he's maybe one of the 1,000 best people on the planet to do that. And he could only complete one pass, almost had 4 interceptions.
Yes, man.
NFL quarterback is hard.
Hard, yeah. Like, he didn't even know the playbook. Like, I listen, I think being an NFL quarterback is probably one of the hardest positions in sports. I mean, you got to think about it, right? Think about what's the turnover rate for a quarterback? It's high. Either you're good, like some quarterbacks are like average, but some teams like to have a Matthew Stafford. Some teams like to have a Kirk Cousins. They're average quarterback, but some teams like to have, that stability. It's hard to get a Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Drew Brees. They don't fall off of trees. It's hard. It's hard to get a quarterback.
And I get that. And that's why I say nowadays you look at the draft. You got to build your wide receivers, and that's why you see everybody drafting all these wide receivers. You can't. It's different building around a quarterback than what it used to be. You can't sit here with the Drew Breeses and the Aaron Rodgers and the Braves where you can just put anybody around them, and it's like they got that leadership to just make them around them better. Like, you got to put some time around people now.
You do. You have to. You have to build the defense, the running game. You have to cater to what the quarterback does in college. It's a different.